Good morning, afternoon, everybody. It is October 25th, 2019. This is Kops Office Hours. I am your moderator, facilitator, Justin Santa Barbara. I work at Google. A reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be put on the internet. So please be mindful of our code of conduct, which boils down to please be a good person. I have pasted a link to the agenda in the chat. And please do feel free to put your name on there if you would like to. If you have other items to put on the agenda, please add them. We'll try to figure out the document permissions. I apologize to everyone that is having to add suggestions. We have a couple of things on the agenda, 3 things on the agenda, and then we can go through our release plan and update. And otherwise, so why don't we just jump right into it? Mike, do you want to talk about Calico or?
Yeah, totally. So I only put these 2 things on there as kind of for Jesse. I don't think he's on the call. Yeah, so the one was Calico. There's a bug that he's been discussing on and off in Slack. He opened an official, ticket with Calico. Unfortunately, it looks like one of those ones that it could be so many things, and it doesn't seem to be highly reproducible. Last I looked at it, it's more just like over time you notice that instances can no longer communicate. So I've just been trying to keep an eye on it, especially since we use Calico very heavily. And I made, Guy made a bunch of changes to Calico, and then I think I made a bunch of changes to Calico to kind of like, get it up to date and get it to, I try to reformat it so it looks more like what Calico releases. I went back through to try to confirm that, we didn't make any drastic changes from that, but yeah, so it's something along those lines. Now, he said it worked fine in the Kops 15 alpha, I believe. And then once he went to the beta, that's when he started running into the problems. And the beta is where the bigger change moving from versions, I believe, happened. So that's just some background on it. I kind of view that as a blocker on 1.15 going beyond beta. But if it came down to it, I think more people would probably rather we decide either we roll back some of those things and see, or we wait a little bit to see if they debug further.
That sounds reasonable. Thank you for that. And I'm a little confused on the version numbers. It looks like Jesse is saying he is running Calico 3.10. Is that what we're running currently?
No, we're on 3.9.1, I think. We're 1 bug fix off. They do have 1 more bug fix out on the 3.9 version. But he tried upgrading to 3.10 just to see if that resolved.
I see.
So now he's back to 3.9 just to like be on the Kops standard.
Okay. Thank you for that. And then it looks like he had a comment that's deleting some CRDs. Oh, they're all deleting all the pods. I just didn't spot that last one.
Deleting everything and then having it all recreate, that fixes everything.
Okay, yeah. I was like, the first 4 seemed pretty reasonable, and then I saw the delete pods, and I was like, that's a little heavy. Okay. All right.
Don't run this in prod, folks.
Yes, I think I would certainly consider that a cause to at least delay 1.15.0. So we will let's put that in the release notes. 1.2 Kops 1.15.0. until we have more input on Calico issue above. That's nice.
Cool.
That will remind us of it going forwards as well.
Great. And then the other one was just trying to get eyes on, Jesse has had this PR open for a while. Justin had a couple nits, but nothing too huge on it, on the OpenStack network. Is that what it was? OpenStack. Existing network and subnet and OpenStack. So I just wanted to get eyes on it. Jesse's been working really hard on so many things that he keeps pushing that one. So I was hoping that we could squeeze that one in for him.
Yeah, that definitely. I think the only, I think this one was somewhere like I asked whether it needs to go into 1.14 or 1.15, and he was like, no. And so I sort of let it slip off my radar. But yes, let's get into 1.16 alpha. And I think that's, cool. Hopefully that conflict is not too bad. It's only a docs conflict, so. Okay, let's put that as a blocker for 1.16 0 alpha 1, and then we will not forget that, or I will not forget that.
Great. Thanks, Justin.
Because, yeah, I think we're actually close on the 1.16 0 alpha 1. Ryan, you have a question about 1.14.1. I presume COPS 1.14.1.
Yeah, just do we want to release a new point release for 1.14, specifically for the cherry pick I put in for the core DNS needing the resource version thing in the service so it stops flapping, complaining?
Yeah, I have never, I need to like find this myself, because I have yet, everyone else has hit it, but I have not hit it. So I'm taking it on faith that if anyone has any repro steps,
I've hit it. We were running the horizontal pod, the DNS horizontal autoscaler, and it's trying to change the scale, and then ProtoCube is trying to set it, because of it doesn't have that resource version in there. I think it's trying to set it back, and it's erroring because once we installed that. And I got that fix out of kubeadmin, is where
yes.
I mean, that's where that's also in, so.
Yeah, I feel like there is an underlying issue in Kubernetes, which we probably someone should fix, but yes. It feels like, yeah, I think that seems like a reasonable thing to do 1.14.1, particularly if we're not going to do 1.15 0. I think that's a good idea. And then, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. Are there any other PRs? I'm just trying to open this cherry pick spreadsheet.
I think that was the only one since the.
Okay, well that's good, right? That's nice and.
At least it's been cherry picked back. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. Looks like there might be something for. Okay, but yeah. We don't put the marker on there. That's I'll have to fix the cherry pick tracker to put a marker when we actually do the releases, because now we can't really see like where they come, right?
I was going to suggest, we just want to add another column for like the point releases, because if we cherry pick one that's behind the marker, because that's easy enough to do, right? Like this one's going to be behind the marker.
Maybe we'll just deal with it. I'm like, yeah, that just seems, I don't know. We could change the color of the, I don't like introducing more columns. I feel like, I don't know. We would never cherry pick something back to 1.14 0 that we didn't cherry pick to 1.14 1. So like, that's why I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not going to bifurcate that. That would be.
Yeah, but the problem is if we put the marker in, right? Like this one's a really old cherry pick that, yeah.
All right. Well, okay. I think we can punt that as too hard, and we can certainly look at Git to like figure out what PRs are in there. That's not unreasonable. But yes, I think 1.14.1 is a good idea, and I will, unless, do other people agree, disagree? Thumbs up, general nodding, sounds good. All right. I will put that in our schedule, which we will come to at the end. Peter, do you want to tell us about an AWS VPC CNI blocker?
Yeah, I opened PR 7398 to upgrade the VPC CNI to 154, and it turns out there's a regression in that breaks pod-to-pod communication on the same node. They have identified the root cause, and we'll have a 155 out soon. But for the 115 release, I'm not sure if we want to just revert it back to 1.5. I think it was on 1.52 maybe, or wait for the 1.55. I don't see a timeline for their release, but they do have a. Let me add the link to it. Open pull request for releasing it, so hopefully imminent, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. It sounds like there's also a challenge with Calico, so I would say we can let it ride for a little bit, and then they've also rolled it back to a specific PR, right? So we could look at their cherry pick spreadsheet and find out which releases that was in. But yes, so like we might just be able to go to 1.53, but I'd rather go to 155 if we can. I think that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I'll keep it open. I'll keep an eye on their releases and open a great PR hopefully before our 115.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I guess because we're late in the yeah, okay. Yeah, we can. It seems reasonable. We sort of do. We know we have this challenge where like the CNI providers do not follow our release schedule, so that's sort of the way it goes. Okay, and you put some great notes in there. Thank you. And now our periodic jobs.
Yes, constant battle.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out what's causing the failures in test grid, and that first EBS volume is missing Kubernetes cluster tag, causing permissions issue. If you look at the failure messages, they say unauthorized operation. You're not authorized to perform this operation, which is trying to attach an EBS volume to an instance. When you look at the IAM policy that kops creates, it only allows attach volume on volumes tagged with Kubernetes cluster. So that was my first guess at what the problem might be. I talked to Justin briefly about it. He mentioned this test infra pull request that tried to fix it, but it looked like that only affects GCE. A few lines above that, there's a check for if we're on GCE, or if we're not on GCE, then return with a Ginkgo script tester. So I followed that rabbit hole and got those other links. But I think basically we need to set the cluster ID environment variable or cluster tag flag to the Ginkgo script. I think that would fix it, but I'm not sure the best way to do that.
Thank you for that. Yes, and thank you. It's well spotted on the fact that yes, I plumbed through the AWS cluster tag only on GCE, which was perhaps not terribly useful. Yes, we do have a choice here between like either getting it into that shell script or just switching it to use the Ginkgo script tester, which is supposed to. I thought the Ginkgo script tester was calling it directly. Oh, sorry. Ginkgo script tester is the one which calls the shell one. And then we have a different one which does it direct, right? And I think we could try going direct. The reason we did direct only for GCE originally was because it was lower risk. So if we broke it, we'd only break a fraction of our tests and not 100% of our tests. Given the AWS tests are broken because of this issue, or not passing, like they are consistently failing, but they are like that because of this issue, we could probably try the direct rather than, because I also think there's an effort to get rid of that Ginkgo E2E script.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure about, is what direction we want to move towards.
I think we should try, and then if it becomes problematic, we can just try to figure out how to get into that shell script, which probably won't be too bad. But yeah, it might just be a set end. Yeah, there's no easy way to test. There's no trivial way to test these things, and well, it's not too bad, but it's a little tricky to test these things. So it's often a case of just try it and see. It is possible to convert a prow test job into a local Docker job, local Docker container, which you can then run and pass the same options in, and it should more or less work, but it's probably easier just to try it.
Okay, I will give that a shot.
Awesome, thank you. And then, yeah, thank you. And yeah, that'd be great if you're able to do that. Thank you. Chang, it looks like you have an item here, which I'm gonna indent for you.
Hey, Justin. I'm just curious, like about 116. Seems you mentioned in the release plan as well. But from my end, I tested. It seems from master branches still have some issues. So I'm wondering what's the mapped items and the timeline about this.
I think that the master branch is likely, if you don't build, I don't know if you built everything yourself or whether you just tried to run kops itself. I think
built a binary.
Just kops. Did you upload everything to did you upload node up and that stuff?
Yeah, that's a missing piece. Actually, I'm not quite sure like what else is needed.
Okay, good. I mean, that's good because that's sort of what my theory. Yeah, so I think we have some docs. They are buried, and I will take an action item to make those docs clearer. The process is actually getting relatively straightforward now. So it used to be a complicated like procedure involving you had to push to some stuff to Docker and you had to do some other stuff. It's now pretty simple in that you just have to upload to either a Google Cloud Storage or an S3 bucket, and it should all be done for you. So I will do that doc. But I think that I think that will fix it, and I think I also put a little breadcrumb if you do want to look for it, which is like search for, I think it's upload dest, just an SB to document properly, to upload node up. But also so the reason, I believe the reason why it might not work is because it's still pointing at the 1.15.0 node up, and I'm guessing there's some incompatibility. So that will get fixed when I do the 1.16.0 upload, which we should probably figure out a way to do that anyway. Like maybe we always cut alpha 1 anyway. I will do when we do 1.16.0 alpha 1, it should fix itself and then be usable from the master branch where you only have to run, build kops.
All right, cool. Thanks. That's very useful. I will pretty much look at this upload desk first, and at the meantime, waiting for your.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, it's a bit. Yeah, it's hopefully I will get to it. If we get everyone. Thank you. But yes, it's sort of buried in a doc, in a subheading of a doc.
Oh, nice.
is the procedure, but I will try to like pull that out to top level because it is.
Yeah, I dropped that in there. I think that's what you're looking for. You can use a combination of that. There's also a command with Bazel that's a little more straightforward using Bazel upload if you use Bazel to build. But look through that directory, the development directory, and there's all of those. That's what we're working to condense now. Actually, is one of the next topic I throw on there real quick is some doc changes.
That's great. Yeah, I think I actually use the other one. I use the other doc, but I'll put that one on there as well. But
Cool.
But yes, let's see. It's also. But yeah, Mike, do you want to?
Sure.
Is that okay, Sheng? I will do the doc.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
So yeah, the next topic, docs update. I finally got time to get back into some kops work this morning. It's hack week here, so finally I get to, I finished my hack, so I'm back to kops. So for those that weren't aware, we basically had an outstanding PR to get a bunch of the changes I made in. I had that held because I figured there would be blockers from changes that were made to docs, but there weren't. So it was ready to merge. So I merged it in. And then I'll make some follow-up smaller PRs because it was just getting too big and I don't want people having to review that whole thing every time. So it's merged in. I just made a second PR to add a Netlify config, which is the place where most of the Kubernetes projects put their apps. So I believe that should be merging in shortly. And then I will be opening a PR this afternoon with Kubernetes k8s.io to get a Netlify app set up. And so at first we'll basically start publishing to Netlify, but we won't request a domain until we're really ready to start showing it off. And but it'll be behind a netlify.com domain for a while. And I think Justin's been involved in some of these before, probably.
Not this far. You are
okay.
Like on new territory as far as I'm concerned.
But yeah, so we're pretty close to getting a real site up. Hopefully that'll move pretty quickly, and then we can make some even more radical changes. There's also an issue I created kind of to wrap all of these things that kind of has a few other ideas that there's a lot of cleanup we can really do on just our base README then, if we can just move a lot of the resources there out, people really don't need to be reading our release criteria on there. So I think eventually we'll just point towards a lot of pointers over to the site. and a lot of things like that. And yeah, so feel free to take a look. I think still my personal Netlify thing on kops.myexplain.com or something still works. So if you're interested in trying out what the new docs will look like, but hopefully by the next time we're all together, we'll at least have a site up, if not a full domain and everything. So yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you.
Good work.
And if I deleted anyone's favorite docs, I'm sorry. I just was trying to, we had a lot of duplication and a lot of, things that I moved around. So feel free to just be like, no, this belongs here. Okay, we can put it back. I don't care that much.
And hopefully you're not paying for bandwidth on kops.myexplain.com or.
Nope, no.
Okay, good.
I'll just bill you, Justin. It's okay.
Exactly. Pile on, sure. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, that's super exciting. It will be actually really nice to have a nice doc site that isn't just like something on GitHub somewhere. Peter, you are up next with Docker package upgrades.
Yeah,
Jesse,
I noticed we have 1806. I think we have 1809 for maybe just stretch. Kubernetes 1.14, I believe, is the first that is officially supports 1809. I was looking at updating other distributions to 1809 and noticed it doesn't support Jesse. I'm wondering how we handle that, given that the Docker version is a property of the cluster manifest, but the distribution specific issue.
We actually have a precedent for this, and I can tell you what we did so far. It may or may not be the right answer, but somewhere we installed with the tar.gz file. I'm doing a search to try to understand. It's called plain binary, apparently. I'm trying to have a link. So 1703.2 was not available on Ubuntu Bionic, apparently, according to my search, which I will paste into the notes when I remember the magic. Do that. Why? Yeah, there we go. So this should be the trick. And actually, I'd prefer us to get to that model in general rather than relying on the OS packaging because of exactly these challenges, particularly around security vulnerabilities. I don't want to go and like rip out all the existing Docker versions, but like gradually, like with Containerd, I think we should start with a tar.gz model and see how it goes, rather than hoping that the OS packages or technically the Docker packages match what we actually want. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
Cool. Guy, you have a slightly confused look on your face, as if like you are like that's the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh no, okay.
So,
obviously,
sorry, slightly distracted by something else.
Okay.
Never mind.
I thought you were disapproving of this approach. All right. Mike, I see you typing something. Do you want to?
Yeah, sorry.
I will type if you want to speak.
Yeah. So this is someone posted this in Slack earlier. It's actually similar to what we were just talking about with Docker stuff. And I thought it might be worthwhile bringing up right now. I haven't commented on it because I'm not sure what the right thing to do is. Whether we should allow, sorry, my computer's still catching up, just basically inline overrides of the Docker package. I mean, part of me feels like it's a pretty logical approach of if the user really wants to go all in and do this themselves, great. But at the same time, it kind of breaks some of our patterns. So I just figured some eyes would be helpful if anyone else has views on it. It seems to be a PR with a few people interested in it.
It doesn't seem unreasonable. So we have the example I would give would be the Kubernetes version.
Yeah.
Like where you can specify v1.17.0 alpha 1, or you can specify a URL, and we use that as the base URL. And we have some limitations about what we expect the structure of that repo to look like, but it works. And we did that for the purpose of testing of CI. The original motivation was for CI, but it doesn't seem like we should disallow this, particularly if it's a tar-gz. I don't know, but whether this was actually supposed to be about, was this about tar-gzs or was this about, yeah, anyway, I'll have a look. I don't, there obviously is going to be some, okay, it's a pretty heavy specification. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, just I agree. I just thought it's something for us to think about a little bit, and just I want to make sure that we keep moving some of these PRs, or at least come to some consensus for feedback.
Yeah. Yes, this is a good one to think about. Yes, if it was less, so the structure mirrors the structure in the docker.go format, which effectively is like changing an implementation detail into a contract with the user, which I'm not wild about because I don't, that format is not intended, like has not been designed for like public consumption, as it were. It's like implementation detail. Yeah, if it was just a URL to the tar-gz file, that would be one thing, but this is certainly more complicated. Okay.
Very cool.
We also could allow it, we could allow an OS package, I guess. Like I'd almost at that point rather allow an OS package.
That's true.
All right. Okay, but thank you for drawing attention to that. We have reached the end of our agenda discussion topics. We have a standing item to review the releases done and planned. I don't know if there's anything else we'd like to discuss before that, or whether we just dive into it. All right, let's see. Okay, so we got 1.15.0 beta 1 out the door, I think 10 days ago, so early last week. I did not get 1.16.0 alpha 1 out the door, but I think we're close now. There were a couple of PRs that we needed to get in, the member list PR, the something OpenStack, an OpenStack PR that was important that I can't remember the details of, and kops controller support for OpenStack. And then also there's a etcd manager support for DigitalOcean, which we got in this morning into etcd manager, and I think may or may not be merging soon into kops itself. Looks like there's some test issues. But other than that, we have one PR which we've identified that we should get in, which is the Jesse's PR around using existing subnets and networks. We have a note. Oops, actually that was the AWS VPC CNI regression. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, some fix. Yeah, I don't know if we'd block. Yeah, that's tricky. The AWS VPC CNI, the regression that we discussed as a blocker for 1.15.0, whether we would block the alpha on that. And then we probably should have a release note clarifying that some cloud providers will not have the correct node labels until they get full kops controller support. I think that is now only, or I think now DigitalOcean, AWS, and GCE all have that support, I think. So that might not be as pressing. But yeah, the VPC CNI, I guess, is the trickier one. I don't know whether we would block the alpha on that or whether we would say don't use the alpha if you're using AWS VPC CNI. Yes, we should do that, Peter?
I think that's fine.
Okay. And then some releases that we talked about on sort of the stable. Oh yeah, so we've decided that we're not going to do 1.15.0. Let's leave that there so I don't accidentally do it. 1.15.0, we're not going to do 1.15.0 in the next 2 weeks, or it's unlikely that we will, because there are two fairly substantial blockers, both on CNI, the AWS VPC CNI, we think, and the Calico issue. So we'd like to see some progress on those, or some resolution on those. If they do both get resolved, then we can go ahead. Or if they both get resolved, should we go ahead? I guess is the question. Does anyone know of any other issues? Or personally, I'd prefer to let it bake. If we get those two, I'd prefer to do a beta 2, but we can see. We can see how much change is in the two fixes. And then we're going to do a kops 1.14.1, which has a cherry pick of the fix for resource version CoreDNS, the CoreDNS resource version, as Ryan pointed out. Thank you, Ryan. And then we have general AMI promotion and Kubernetes version promotion. We noted last time there was a problem with 1.14.7 and ELBs. I don't know if there's a 1.14.8.
There is. It's out, and I pushed it to alpha.
Thank you.
You bet.
Push 1.14.8 into stable. We'll let it sit for a little bit, and then we'll do that. All right. So I think the highlight will be 1.14.1, 1.16.0 alpha 1, and maybe some progress getting us towards a 1.15.0 beta 2, or maybe even 1.15.0, but we will likely see.
While we're talking about all these releases, Justin, I'm not sure what your plans are for KubeCon San Diego, but I think it would be pretty cool if you could do a release in front of anyone that's interested, just to shadow it.
Sure. The process is remarkably unexciting, but yes. Actually, yes, I'm happy to do that. If you are interested in how it happens, there is a document that is in like Kubernetes kops docs development release. I think that's it. Docs development release. Yep, release.md. And you can sort of see the process, and it's not too bad. But yes, I am happy to do that. And ideally, we will get that to the point where we are increasingly, so, you know, like in the kits.io group, we are getting it. So there's fewer and fewer of these things are required to be, or we'll get to the point where hopefully we can get these releases done from an automated standpoint, at least if we are willing to trust the bots. And then if we are willing to trust the bots, we're not going to get it fully like hands off. So no one's like, today it relies on some secrets or secret keys, and those keys are held by me, and we would like that not to be the case. And Kates.io infra is basically taking care of that, and we are definitely getting closer. I think I actually had a PR up to start publishing things to the staging repo. I don't know if we merged that or not, but
I think I left a comment on that. It's 7697.
okay. But yes, if we get that, let's see. The intention of that is 7. Thank you. How do you know that?
I was scrambling to pull it up while you were talking.
If we get that one going, then we will push to the staging repo on every merge to master. I've just realized, of course, that like we also have other release branches, but that's a separate problem. On every merge to master, we will push to staging, and then the intention is that we would there will be some form of promotion process where you edit a YAML file in the github.com kubernetes/kates.io repo, and that describes with a cryptographic SHA the release you want to do. Someone else LGTMs it, and then a bot observes that and promotes that particular container. And I am personally adding support, or I am working on support for adding or a promotion of non-container, non-image artifacts, which we have more of. And if we get that going, then I think we'll be in great shape. We do not yet have a solution for GitHub, so but I can't imagine that would be too bad. Other than the fact that it's sort of simplified right now because it's all on Google infrastructure. So it all uses Google Auth, whereas now we'd have to hold a GitHub credential, I guess. But anyway, first step.
The SIG Infra working group yesterday, new onboarding thing. And I think that's some of what you're talking about, right? Moving, this would be the new Docker registry that's outside of Google Core or whatever.
Correct. Yes. So it is still on. The intention is there's this group that is trying to build infrastructure that is owned and managed by the CNCF, and is not owned and managed by Googlers. And although currently it is using a lot of Google Cloud Platform infrastructure, it is not like otherwise tied to Google. And the hope is that like there can be support for other, or there can be other cloud services that are also supported, be they GitHub or AWS or you know, DO or whatever, or OpenStack or whatever it might be. Yes, but anyway, we're starting simple. Like it's always the battle is to start simple. So first step is get these promotions going. I think although we are mostly concerned about non-image artifacts, I think I started with just pushing the images in this PR. I don't know if I've since ripped out all the images. That might be the comment. Yeah, okay, no, it's not okay. Yes, but yes, we're gradually reducing the number of images we actually need to push. So I want to get this in before we get rid of the last one, I guess. Otherwise, it will be a little academic. But yes, starting with images, then we can push the binary artifacts into a GCS bucket, and then we can promote them from there. And we'll have to like figure out how we get them promoted from the staging into a production bucket. But I think we actually have we have artifacts.k8s.io, which is currently in our alias list, and there is a slightly more manual promotion process right now that runs the non-image promoter, and I am promoting occasionally some of our artifacts. So I think with 1.16.0 alpha 1, it will actually land, and then we might actually start pulling from there. The nice thing about the we have this like resolution process where we try a bunch of mirrors, and the 3 mirrors we will have will be the existing S3 bucket, the artifacts k8s.io service, and GitHub. So fairly diverse set of providers there.
That's awesome. This is super exciting to me, and I'm looking forward to the day when like we don't have to ask, you know, did you try ProtoCube? You know, did you build a copy of ProtoCube in CubeUp? You know, and now we can just say, actually, just run this command, and we'll pull the latest, you know, build off master.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yes.
So cool.
All right. I don't know if there's anything else that's put on the agenda while I was monologuing. It does not look like so. Shall we? Is there anything else anyone would like to bring up, or do people want a couple of minutes back? All right. Well, I wish everyone a happy Friday and happy weekend, and see you in 2 weeks.
Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.